Hello everybody and welcome back to another anti-MLM video. I'm Christina. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to take a look at Monat's income disclosure statement from 2025. It is finally out and we're going to take a look at the numbers. We're going to analyze them, compare them to the previous year, compare them with other numbers publicly available about how Monat is really doing, how they're financially doing, and how they have done over the years, what their trajectory looks like. We're going to start with a quick snippet into a Monat call where they address the income disclosure statement and the importance of compliance and how, in my opinion, Monat market partners need to do a better job. They cannot throw around these weird income claims anymore, according to Monat. And we will then take a look at the income disclosure statement and why they cannot make those claims. I'm Christine. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. We're going to get right into this video. We will start to take a look at about 15 minutes from a Monat kickoff call in July, addressing the income disclosure statement. I could have cut this down to just a couple of minutes, but I think it is also interesting to see how Monat sets that information up. Please take a look and see how much introduction there is and how much information there is leading up to the actual information, which could have been an email. It could have been 2 slides. It is 2 slides. So we will get into this, baby. Let's get started.
What's your favorite product to talk about? Pop it into the chat. What's your absolute favorite product to talk about? The oil. Yes, oil. IR Clinical, oil, Rejuvenate, absolutely. Thickening serum. So many favorites on there. So many of them in our top 10. Here's the thing. We all have products that we love, but I truly believe that the greatest product Monat offers is the Monat opportunity. Truly. Aren't you glad someone shared that product with you?
That is very honest. It is worded very nicely, but what does Monat offer? An opportunity to pretend that you can make a lot of money. It's not about the products. And in a way, Monat themselves admit to that. So thank you.
It has the power to transform lives. It has the power to create flexibility. And it really does provide options people may not even realize that they're looking for. So, for this next little thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to focus on how you can confidently share the opportunity and why it's one of the most impactful conversations you can have. And we want to get everyone really comfortable with talking about it as the best product that we have. Especially think about the trip that we just launched, right? Or ignite in any of the markets. To be able to go, well, you're so excited about that and share it with people with an effort of enrolling them right now, getting them active, getting them, to MMP really fast. We want you comfortable with talking about the opportunity. So we all know that there's things we can say and things we can't say. And the last thing that we want is for our market partners to hesitate sharing Monat because maybe they're worried they'll accidentally say the wrong thing and receive a compliance letter. It happens. Actually, did you know that our compliance team sends more than 400 letters globally every month related to product and income claims? I didn't even know that. So I felt like we needed to address it in a bigger way. So it's not because Monat is trying to make things difficult and doesn't want you to share. It's really because we have a responsibility to protect consumers and ensure that we're operating with integrity. So
You also, and that's the primary job of compliance, you have the obligation to keep the company safe and afloat. Market partners making ridiculous income or product claims is just something that would endanger the company. As somebody who works in compliance as well and in youth protection, it is nice to say, yeah, we're protecting young children from certain things and content they shouldn't see. We're setting everything up so that the user can easily access programs, they can easily access content, which is all true. But first and foremost, the job is to protect the company. That's part of what you do as a compliance person. I can speak from experience there. And 400 letters in a month, maybe they should really do an audit of their market partners' social media, because then a number would probably spike times 10. Just saying. If you ever scroll through social media and you do take a look at Monat accounts, people in Monat as market partners, what they post, the income claims they make, the things they say about their oil, for example, I've reacted to that years ago when somebody said, well, and if you really want to protect your body, just lather on the Monat Rejuvenique oil, which is really pricey, and then place yourself in the sun and it protects you. Well, it doesn't. Hello, you will burn to crisps. Things like this. Yes, consumer protection is important, but they want to protect the company. That is their job. So maybe you should send out more than 400 emails each and every month, because I think there's a lot more work that the compliance team there has to do.
So we're governed by regulatory agencies such as the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, along with other regulatory bodies around the world. And these organizations, they're there really to set standards for how direct selling companies communicate about products and about the opportunity. So compliance, our compliance team, if you've met Joe, you know he's super friendly. It's not about creating barriers. It's really about protecting our market partners, protecting consumers, and protecting the long-term health and credibility of our business. So when we all understand the guidelines, we can share Monat confidently and compliantly. I almost want you sharing it as much as you do share your favorite products, or maybe even more. Sometimes, honestly, it's just a simple word choice change, or the inclusion of the income disclosure statement that takes a post from being non-compliant to compliant. If you're in the United States this week, you received the 2025 income disclosure statement. We emailed it out this week. And the income disclosure statement is used in the United States. There's one used in Canada. There's one used in Asia Pacific as well. Europe and LATAM have their own statements that they use. They're not called an income disclosure statement, but you can get them, connect with your regional. They can provide it for you. Really, what I want to get across is that that income disclosure statement, it's something to be proud of. And you can use it as a credibility tool when sharing the opportunity. It really demonstrates Monat's consistency and stability year after year. We want you to see it as a valuable business tool to use confidently and responsibly.
It is not a valuable business tool. It is a compliance necessity. And I think when we take a look at the numbers later, you will see why the market partners are not that eager, although they have to, from a compliance side, add the income disclosure statement and be truthful about what most people make in Monat. They're not keen to add that. Why? Because the numbers suck. So it's a compliance necessity, but not a success tool that you can talk about prettily. It shows the downfall of Monat.
So, because we want you sharing our best product loudly and proudly, we're going to spend some time educating you on how to share. So, everyone, do you know who Jade Free is? US Regional Director. She's here to give you a sneak peek into a bigger training that we're going to have a little later this month. She's going to facilitate this right now, and it's really focused on keeping you safe while attracting potentials to you and Monat. I like to call her the friendly Judge Jade when it comes to compliance and how to share Monat. So, Jade, over to you.
Thank you, Marsha. Hi, friends. Hi, Mo fam. Hello, hello. Thank you for the love. I appreciate you guys. We all know that this is not the fun topic, but I am a ball of fun. So let's see if we can make that happen. I appreciate you guys so much. As Marsha mentioned, I'm the Central Regional Sales Director for Monat and now Judge Jade. We won't make it that serious today. I promise I won't scare you. I don't have a gavel or the robe whatsoever, but that might be one of my little personalities that we're going to show up, that's going to show up on Instagram on Monat MPO. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be fun. I'm excited to make that something cute. All right. All right, listen, I'm popping on here so we can have a little family chat. All right, get a chair, get your coffee. Let's make it fun. Okay, get comfy. If you're comfy, if you're ready, put a 2 in the chat. I'm only going to take a little bit of your time, but I just need to see that you guys are with me. You're here. I see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. All right, I already know. And the reason why I said to get comfy, guys, because I already know the second that I say the word compliance, half of you are going to be like, shoot, I got to delete my post, y'all. They're calling me out. Or maybe you're sitting there thinking, if I don't make eye contact, maybe she won't call on me. Listen, okay? We've all been there. I know you have. I know you understand it. Sometimes compliance gets the reputation of being the scary guy. I get it. But Joe truly is not scary. He's the best out there. You would love him. And I'm sure many of you are hesitant to post because You're thinking compliance is sitting there in a corner ready to pop you upside the head with an email. But that's not what it is, I promise. I am here to share with you that compliance isn't your cop, it's actually your coach. All right? They're not rooting for you to fail, they're rooting for you to win, but the right way. So here's something that honestly blew my mind. Marcia just mentioned every month our compliance team sends around 400 emails because of income claims. 400 emails. Guys, can you imagine? I don't even want to answer 400 emails, okay? Let alone send them. So Jesus, take the wheel, the car, everything but the seatbelt, please, all right? But here's what I don't want. I don't want anyone who's ever received an email thinking, well, I guess I just won't post. I've seen it, I have heard it, I've heard all the things. But no, that is quite the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish, okay? What we actually want you doing is posting more boldly, more confidently, more consistently. And I'm gonna say, shout out to Kelly Gatrell for being consistent, because for over a year on TikTok, she just went viral, and it's not always about that quick win. So shout out to her, share some love in the chat for her. She just had that moment, and I'm so excited for her. But we just want you to know how to do it the right way, okay? So here's the deal. We all know Monat is literally a jaw-dropping opportunity, right? We all are aware of that. That's why we're here. It's not just a sexy brand. It is the sexiest brand. Amen? Products, come on, guys. People don't just like our products. They love our products. People don't just love our culture. They want a way in to our culture and our trips. Don't even get me started about our trips, right? I mean, who's excited for the cruise announcement? Because I know I am, all right? I'm excited, and I want you shouting it from the rooftops. I don't just want you shouting something that'll earn you an email tomorrow morning, okay? Come on, somebody. So let's just make sure your excitement gets you compliments, not compliance emails. So now I know what some of you are thinking, and I get this all the time in my power hours. Okay, Jade, but what do I say? Well, don't worry, I got you. Most of the time, it's not what you're saying, it's kind of how you're saying it. So let's look at a few easy swaps. If we can pop that post up here for the people really quickly.
This has been an 8-minute introduction to say the new income disclosure statement for Canada and the US is out. Use it, which they themselves haven't done because Monat hosted opportunity calls where their market partners used not up-to-date information. Maybe one could have implemented that important compliance topic there as well. And now we're getting to the core of what Monat wants to tell their people. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors before we get to the actual core. You're not being compliant, you cannot say these things, this is what you have to say from now on. It could have been an email, truly.
Okay, perfection. Oh guys, bless it. I am blind as a bat. I'm gonna have to expand. Here we go. Instead of this, say this. Take a picture of this, please, especially if you have newbies on your team, or especially if you've ever been a little bit like underconfident in this. I want to show you some examples that we see often that you can say, but just in a different way. All right. So number one is, I quit my job because of money.
How many times have we heard that also from the OGs who are still saying this to this very day? Christina Smallwood actually dressed up in a weird founder's uniform to greet and to welcome a friend of hers who just quit her job to do Monat full-time. Maybe she also received a compliance email. To be honest with you, most of these people shouldn't even be in Monat anymore if they took compliance seriously. They, as in Monat, if they were really to audit and to take a close look at their market partners, then in my opinion, hardly anybody would be left. So yeah, I quit my job because of Monat. Pay attention to the things you're not supposed to say and how you're supposed to word it, and why people in Monat use what they're not supposed to say and why they don't necessarily use what Monat says they should say. Because all of that sounds really unsexy, whereas the things they're not allowed to say anymore is something we hear all the time that might be a stronger selling point for people to join them.
First of all, kudos to you if you were able to do that. That is incredible. And that is why we love the opportunity so much. But we want you to be able to say it in a way that the FTC does not come after you, and neither does compliance, okay? So instead, we want you to say, I'm so grateful the hard work put into my Monat business has allowed me to be more present and be home with my family, okay? You pretty much said that you're home without saying I quit my job. All right, number two, join me and make 6 figures this year. Listen, if you can get people to make 6 figures, we love it. We love it, right? But we want you to say it just a little bit differently. So you can say 75,000 in product sales, 600 orders sold. You can say that. Let the illusion be, oh, how much did you make from that? Or right? One of the things that you'll even say is you can tell people to DM you so they can actually ask you how much you made from that. Those conversations that are more private are easier to have, okay?
But they shouldn't be private, because that is the core of this business opportunity. How much money do you make? How much money do most people in Monat make? And not DM somebody so that you can have the honest conversation behind the scenes. But they do that all the time. You see that in Monat posts as well. DM me if you want more information. And that's the reason why.
This 1/3, join my team and earn a free cruise. Listen, we know you're excited about the cruise. We know, but do not say that, okay?
The cruises are not free. The incentive trips are not free. The car is not free.
You can say, I'm so excited that Monat announced this Ignite cruise. I love that this business gives us opportunities like this, and I'm excited to work toward earning my spot. So you're kind of giving that idea that a cruise is something you're going to get, right? But you threw an earn there. So it's not necessarily saying that anybody can join and earn or not. Sorry, it's not necessarily saying that anybody can join and just get a free cruise. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. And I know you guys know what hard work looks like. Okay.
And we will also take a look at the numbers for the incentive trips and see how many people are actually participating in these.
This one says quit your job, right? Just quit the job. It's all right. First of all, don't do that. Okay. And if you don't have a backup, please don't do that. Okay. But this one you can say instead is, I'm so grateful this business has given me options and flexibility that I never expected. All right. And then for the 5th one, want to make this kind of money, DM me. Now, we want you guys to tell people to DM you. Words are hard. It feels like a Friday, and it is not, okay? We gotta love it.
Words are hard, maybe, because those words are really problematic. I'm not allowed to tell you how much money I make in public. I'm not allowed to make ridiculous statements in public because it could harm Monat and myself, and I could be terminated. But I'm going to tell you the most ridiculous things in private. Maybe if you have ever felt scammed by a Monat market partner or by Monat, maybe take screenshots of those DMs so that you can prove how was spoken to you, how the opportunity was presented to you, in case you ever need it.
Right? You can say this, but we want you to say it like this. Want to learn how I'm doing it? DM me, $, or shop, or Monat, or hair, or oil, okay? Whatever that may look like. All right, so see, easy. It doesn't have to be complicated, but these are ways to kind of transition some of those words that will get you flagged, not just by us, but by the higher powers that be, okay? All right, now, speaking of the cruise, we know you are stoked about this, and we are too, and we want you sharing that excitement. So we put together a few examples of ways to say exactly what you're feeling after today. We can go to the next slide, please.
That is one of their newest incentives, that you can work towards a cruise, and now she's going to walk everybody through what you can say and what you cannot say. We will listen to this bit, then I'm going to drop off. There might be a full compliance call coming up, so I'm excited about that. After that, we will take a look, after that bit about the cruise, what you can say or what you cannot say, we will take a look at the actual numbers and why I believe Monat is so concerned with compliance at this point.
Okay, listen, these are fun. Okay, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Yes, use this verbiage, you guys. I see you in the chat. So this one's excited and energetic. It says cruise countdown starts at now. I'm officially chasing the Monat North America Ignite 2027 cruise incentive trip in March 2027. And I can't wait to earn every step of the journey. Guys, you can pivot these. Okay, you can swap these around. You can put it in our good old boy toy ChatGPT, and you can say, make this more of my personality, but use this kind of context.
Take a screenshot of this if you want to take a full look at these posts. To ask an artificial intelligence tool to word something, a general statement, so that it sounds more like you. To the human that you are, sounds wrong to me, but expect to see a lot of these posts coming up. We will now take a closer look at Monat's income disclosure statement and compare to the numbers from 2024. If you are interested in in-depth analysis, CCs, excuse me, about Monat, Monat's numbers, the claims the market partners make, the numbers from Monat that pretty much contradict the alleged success the people publicly post on social media. And also, I would encourage you to follow MLM Unmasked on Instagram. I will link the Instagram account down below. It's a source of truth. It's interesting. If you want in-depth information, go ahead and follow them. I would highly recommend that. In the 2025 Monat income disclosure statement, like in 24, there are no numbers listed how many market partners in total were in the United States. I think that is the number they dropped last year. And they will not add those numbers anymore because I think the total number shows that Monat is losing market partners rapidly. But they do have still this very clear split between the individual ranks, the percentages, how much the people make, and we can take an in-depth look at this. I will show you individual documents, the 24 and the 25 income disclosure statement by comparison, but also a comparison I myself set up to show you the changes. I will show you the overall company statistics I accumulated from the numbers given from Monat. We can see that the average annual income for all US market partners is down. The average participant earned $93 less than in 25, that is minus 12.3%. And there are more inactive market partners, 3% points more than were in 24, meaning that now an even larger share of enrolled market partners earned no commission because they were inactive. Monat still chooses to combine both active and inactive market partners. They have the data, they have the number. If they wanted to, they could add just those market partners that are active, that are actively trying to sell and to recruit. They do not do that. I think they do that for a good reason, because then the real and raw numbers just of those trying to pursue a business or a business opportunity would be visible to outsiders. And I think in that sense, you can always say, well, there are so many people, spoiler alert, at the lowest rank. They're not there because their businesses are failing. They just want the products and they want the 30% market partner discount, and that is why they're at that rank. And if Monat were to exclude the market partners that do not earn any commission, then the real and raw numbers wouldn't look as sexy either. That is my opinion. When we take a look at the specific rank distribution comparing 24 to 25, we can see that the biggest shift was a substantial increase in the percentage of participants classified as associate market partner. That is an officially created rank Monat introduced last year. It was already mentioned in their income disclosure last year, although it was only live for a couple of months. And that is the one rank that was kind of bumped up. More people are at that rank than were before because we now see the number over the course of a year. We see that still the most popular rank is the lowest rank, the market partner rank, minus 2.5%. Those people, I believe, ranked up to associate market partner, but then again, other people deranked very likely and fell to that rank. That is a rank that requires a market partner to recruit one person and sell a certain amount of product. The managing market partner requires them to recruit two people and sell a certain amount of product. I believe they introduced that rank to make it easier for those who are not able to recruit two people to rank up, to not be at the lowest rank anymore. And we can see that people ranked up. 91.69% are still at the lowest rank. Then there are more associate executive directors than there were last year. That is the second rank where we can see a bump up. It is 0.02% of the people in the company at that rank. Last year it was 0.1%. The other ranks dropped in percentage with the exception of the senior executive directors. There is no change. I believe that tells us very clearly, number one, the overall distribution of people within the company is still at the lowest ranks. Most people are still at the two lowest ranks. And some of those at the lowest rank were able to rank up by one rank. And then that's pretty much it. And at the top ranks, the AED, the Associate Executive Director rank, is a rank that has gained people because others deranked. That is what I believe. The executive directors who were not able to keep their rank anymore, those are the ones who are now at the AED or at the lower ranks. Those numbers with the rank distribution, comparing it to the year before, I believe shows us very clearly that the people are deranking. It's not a sign of success in the United States. People are pretty much falling down the rank ladder, and there are probably in the United States at the moment just 5 SEDs left, and the people are falling in rank. SEDs to EDs, EDs to AEDs, and they fall down further and further. There are probably only 5 senior executive directors left in the United States where everything started for Monat. So that is kind of the mothership of Monat, where the most successful people are located. And I believe, per my personal calculation, that only 5 people are left. Krista, Jacqueline, Anne, and Julie, who both, I believe, were artificially popped up by Monat after Tony Van Schoik left. A certain percentage of her former downline, Monat's first distributor, was very likely gifted to them. That's what I believe and what others believe as well, because there is an artificial boost specifically for Anne Fisher. Income-wise, she's regularly now in the top income earner lists, whereas she was lower on that list before that bump up. And then there's also Sarah. So those are the 5 people who I believe are still at the SED rank, and other people are deranking. When we take a look at the money shmoney, the average annual earnings, what stands out here is that the 2 largest rank, the market partner and the associate market partner rank, they experience the biggest declines. Those are also still the most popular ranks within the company. Most people are the 2 lowest ranks, and they have seen the biggest declines. Market partners made 38% less than the year before, and the associate market partner made 26% less than in the year before. The middle leadership ranks, they stayed roughly the same, or they improved very modestly, and the top leadership ranks generally earned more on average. We see this specifically with the managing market mentor and the senior executive director. What is more interesting, though, is to take a look at the median earnings. The median often is a better representation of a typical participant than the average, because the average includes very high numbers and also very low numbers, and it doesn't really even it out. So the median is always the more interesting one, and here we see a very clear sign. The most notable declines are concentrated among the lowest ranks. Market partners now make $8 in a year median annual earnings. 714 at the second rank, less than at the other rank. The third rank stayed the same. There's a slight bump up in the fourth. There is a loss in the market builder rank. There is a loss in the managing market builder rank. The associate market mentor, also a loss. The market mentor was bumped up a bit. The managing market mentor had a significant bump up. The associate executive director also had a bump up, a small one, but still a visible one. The executive director had a bump up, and the senior executive director did as well. So we see very clearly that most people in Monat at the lowest ranks, they made less than they did the year before. And the few people, as we've seen per the percentage before, who are at the higher ranks, they make more per rank. I believe that is the case because some of the people at the SED rank, the top rank, they were pretty much gifted a downline to stay in the company. Now, that is my personal belief, but that is why Julie Stevens and that is why Anne Fisher were bumped up. And that is also why the senior executive director rank made more money than in the year before. And when we take a look at the executive director rank and the associate executive director rank, I think we still see the numbers of those who are deranking. Those who were formerly at a higher rank, who are now deranking, they still carry a certain significant income with them while they're falling down this rank ladder. And that is what I guess we see. I believe we can see my theory also supported by the highest earner numbers if we compare these, or if we take a look at these for 25. Several of the middle ranks saw higher maximum earnings or much higher maximum earnings, while the highest executive ranks reported somewhat lower maximums than in 24. That is what I mentioned before, that I think those people who were formerly at higher ranks, they're now deranking, and they're still taking some of their income with them, but that is also decreasing as we speak. Especially the MMM rank, while the ranks above lost significantly, and less people are at the higher ranks than in 24, with the exception of the AED, where I believe we can see those who could not hold on to the SED or ED rank. Same for the other ranks below, where I believe some of of the higher earnings can be shown, that is because of the D ranking. I believe that those at the 3 or 4 highest ranks are predominantly also fueled by the new country launches and not by existing market partners in their existing markets. If we take a look at the territories that Monat launched in 25 and in 26, those were the years of launches for Monat. And to me, it is a sign that Monat has to open the recruitment to other markets to balance out those leaving existing markets, and not a lot of new recruits come in those existing markets. So in order to bump up the overall number of market partners, Monat has to open up in other territories. Otherwise, the company would not bleed out as slow as they do now. They would bleed out a lot quicker. That is also why we currently see this tail that is being pushed, and also by Monat, who are setting up calls for their market partners to push that narrative that everybody is returning to Monat. If you were in Monat before, now everybody is returning and now they're really successful, which is not true, because the numbers from the 25 income disclosure statement show that. I have a video about the return to Monat legend. I will link it up here if you want to take a look. But it is still, I believe, an important market for Monat, to market towards those former market partners, to re-recruit those who left pretending that the new Monat is so much better now. There is really an influx on social media. So new country launches are essential, and aiming at those who were in Monat before and trying to convince them to return. But I think those new markets are really the essential thing. Otherwise, Monat market partners at the top ranks would be drowning even faster. I can also see that on social media with some of the Spanish-speaking US Monat people. Some of them now don't focus on the English-speaking market anymore. They have team calls. They post specifically very heavily in Spanish now, for Spanish, trying to recruit people from Spanish-speaking countries and markets now, and they don't produce that much English-speaking content anymore. Also team calls, which they themselves also easily make accessible, let's say it like this. We can see why, because Monat launched in a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, and that is what I believe the Spanish-speaking market partners that I take a look at on social media, what they're focusing on, because there is simply more potential. Monat launched lately Mexico, the DOM rep, Costa Rica, and Panama. And that is what the people that I take a look at, that is what they changed. And I think those are the markets they try to target. Monat did not launch any new countries in 24. Instead, 24 was a year where Monat focused and operated on the existing markets. Countries in which Monat was already operating during 24. Oh my gosh, the ghost of Monat. I will not stop filming. Yeah, I don't care. The truth will come out, Monat. You are not sabotaging this video. Okay, let's continue. The markets Monat was already live in 24 were the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom. Okay, we're stopping this buffoonery. The UK, Ireland, Poland, Spain, Lithuania, Australia, New Zealand, and France. This aligns with Monat's own materials from 24, such as Europe Ignite and Passport 24. That's the list of the operating markets Monat mentioned. Monat's expansion timeline, I will just show it here. I will just list it here. There were, like I said, no new country launches in 24, and then in 25, Monat announced launches in Austria and Mexico, with Italy, the DOM rep, Costa Rica, and Panama scheduled for early 26. So despite continuing to hold international events and recruiting in existing markets, 2024 marked the first full calendar year since 2018 in which Monat did not open a new country. Monat announced several new country launches during 25, expanding both in Europe and in Latin America. And the countries they finally launched into were Germany and Belgium in March. And then in October, it was Austria and Mexico. And those launches were announced at Monations 25 in Las Vegas, announced for early 26. At the same event, Monat also announced that they wanted to expand to Italy, the DOM rep, Costa Rica, and Panama. So 4 countries actually launched in 25, Germany, Belgium, Austria, and Mexico, with 4 additional countries that were announced during 25 for the actual launch then in early 26. Monat also announced Switzerland as an upcoming market in February 26 during its Monat Unleashed event in Munich. The announcement stated that Monat Switzerland is set to launch later this year, but did not provide a specific launch date at that time. To focus on new territories in order to bump up your downline or to keep at a rank, to use that as a strategy is also very, very risky in my opinion. It's a wonky structure. Network marketing is a wonky structure where people are built on top of each other, where they're stacked on top of each other. There is no long-term plan, and we can see that with the examples from the past. Some people like Ivy, who were at the SED rank, she was able to rank up and she was able to stay at that rank for a short period of time because of people in Monat Australia who were recruited, who were in her downline. This has failed. The people she tried to get to a certain rank that is beneficial for her, they have deranked, so she has deranked and she has never fully recovered from that. We saw that for a lot of people who based their success on recruitments from Australia and New Zealand, and we can currently see that also from those who were recruited in Germany. Some people have deranked possibly multiple times. Christina Smallwood is one of those people, and others who bank on Germany to fill up their downline pretty much depends on one person who is successful in Monat Germany thanks to the launch that happened last year, and they hope and they wish that that is sustainable for as long as it lasts. I mean, this is not sustainable. We know it, we can see it, but we see this again and again and again, and other people are now hoping that the most recent launches will help them in their businesses. And I just think it doesn't work. And the numbers show that. I also wanted to take this opportunity to take a look at the annual revenue figures from Monat. The company is not a public company. It's not publicly traded or audited as a privately held company. So as a result, there is no official year-by-year revenue report they have to unleash. However, Monat executives have publicly stated revenue milestones over the year, and several business publications have reported or they have estimated annual reviews. And this is the comparison I was able to compile here. Here's the best supported timeline with a distinction between company reported figures and third-party estimates. The source for the estimations is also an MLM-friendly website. I will link it down below. Take a look. What appears to have happened with this publicly available information and the suggested revenue is that the years from 2014 till 2019 showed growth, sometimes even rapid growth. Sales increased from startup level to roughly 650 to 700 million. Then from 22 till 21, we can see the COVID boom. Revenue reached approximately 800 million, representing Monat's highest reported annual sales. Third-party estimates indicate that revenue declined from the pandemic peak, although Monat has not publicly confirmed annual revenue figures for these year. Only the early milestone figures, such as approximately 100 million, 300 and 500 million, and the widely publicized 800 million peak are based on company communications. The figures for 2022 till 24, want to stress this again, these are estimates from industry observers rather than official Monat financial disclosures. Because Monat is privately held, there is no audited annual report available to independently verify those later estimates. The overall information I gather from the income disclosure statement in the comparison to 24 is that Monat is rapidly declining, and they cannot stop that decline, although in the last 2 years they launched, or this year and last year, they launched a whole lot new territories. That is where I believe the bump in revenue income for those ranks in Monat in the United States we were able to see according to the 25 income disclosure statement. That's where this came from. We can also see this trend, I believe, continuing when we take a look at the incentive trips and the comparison 24 and 25. The director's circle, 94 out of 101 people were eligible, which means that 48.5% were qualified. New leadership experience, 31.4% were qualified. And then passport 24, 17% were qualified. 432 out of 2,548 eligible market partners. In 25, we have even less information about incentive trips, but the leadership circle shows that only 30.2% qualified. It was just 51 out of 169 people who were eligible, and then passport, even more damning, 246 out of 1,882 people who were eligible qualified. That is 13.1%. Even here, we see a number that declines. That's also why I believe we do not see the total number for the Monat market partners. How many are actually still in the company? Because I think that would be, for Monat, a horrific number that shows the rapid decline, how many people are actually in the company. So compared with 24, the percentage of eligible participants who actually earned the incentive trips declined as well. What is my overall interpretation when I take a look at the 2025 income disclosure numbers? I think that it suggests a mixed picture. The average participant earned less than in 24. More participants were inactive and earned no commissions. Entry-level earnings declined substantially, both in average and in median terms. Mid-level leadership generally maintained or modestly improved their earnings. The highest leadership ranks continued to report larger incomes, with some increases in average earnings despite declines in some maximum individual earnings. And incentive trip qualifications became more selective, with a smaller proportion of eligible participants who earned the trips. And overall, the data indicates that earnings became more concentrated among the higher ranks, while the experience for the typical or entry-level participant worsened from 24 till 25. And if you think about all of the incentives and all of the programs and all of the posts and all of the smoke and mirror that Monat really invested and leaned into in 26, in 25, and also in 24 already, I believe, then this is so much more damaging. And it is so interesting to see because obviously it doesn't work. Because most people are still at the lowest ranks and they make less money than they did the year before, and the people at the top are pretty much in the same situation they were before, or they lost income as well. And I believe people are deranking, and that is also what we can see in those numbers. And the market partners also continue to do what they did. They have a lot of hushy posts. They have a lot of inspirational posts. They are making ridiculous income claims, pretending that this is a viable business, that it's sustainable, and that you can make a lot of money there, while most people, according to Monat's numbers, are not able to participate in those higher numbers. Why would you do that? Well, to make a crappy business opportunity look a lot better than it is. Let me know your thoughts. I was waiting for this income disclosure statement to come through. I think it shows very clearly that Monat is not a great opportunity to join if you want to make money. If you want to lose money, then the chances are high that you will achieve. Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. You can hype the video. You can comment something down below. You can share the video. That helps the channel and that helps the videos out a lot. And if you liked it, then hopefully I will see you in my next video. The next regular upload is on Friday at 1 p.m. Central European Time. Until then, tschüss!